I talk a lot about how peace is a good option in our time now, and I always get arguments about it. I get arguments about how violence has to be the solution, and if people are violent to you, you have to be violent back, and all that. And I'm just going to offer a perspective that I've come to feel, see, think, see proof of in the world over these last 55 or so years, and that is violence has actually never solved a problem. It might have wiped out entire populations who believed something or punished an entire group of people enough for them to stop the things they're doing. But in terms of actually solving problems, violence doesn't do that. And that's why I always say peaceful non-participation, because when you're not participating in the system that's oppressing you, you still have your voice. As soon as you pick up a gun or a knife or even a uh you know one of these thingamajiggies, I forget the name now, um you lose your ability to talk because the other person feels threatened, just like a lot of us feel threatened now. It's difficult to listen to the people who are threatening us, isn't it? It's difficult to give compassion or time or energy to a group of people who are exploiting us, oppressing us, killing us, collecting us, enslaving us, and shipping us off to foreign lands, right? Because they are violating us. So when I say nonviolent non-participation, nonviolent protests, I'm referring to the many times in history these things have worked not only to stop a behavior, but to solve a problem. This is why I bring up the grape boycott of the 60s. This is why I bring up the labor boycott in Iceland in 1975, because these were just cessations of an activity that would speak volumes so that society would change to answer a need, right? In the case of the grape boycott, 7 million American people stopped eating grapes so that 5,000 farm workers would be treated better at work. In the case of the boycott in Iceland in 1975, I believe it was, 90% of the women just stopped working for a day. Mothers, workers, wives, they just didn't do anything for a day. By the next year, Iceland had equal pay for everyone. So these are, there are many other examples in history that I could go over, but I think you get the point. Violence will not solve a problem. And so before you rush to violence because you're angry or you're afraid or you're hurt or you're fed up of how oppressed you have been or how exploited you have been or how damaged and traumatized you are, it's valid to feel those things. And remember that what got you to this place was their violence. How able are you to solve a problem when you're feeling traumatized, when you're feeling threatened? I'm going to postulate not that capable. And this is why I suggest boycotts. This is why I suggest nonviolence. Now, if you're asking me to use my body as a shield to protect somebody, yes, I will do that, of course. I am not ever, though, going to pick up a weapon to hurt someone, not only for the reasons I have just stated, it never solves a problem, but also because I don't want to carry that around in my body for the rest of my days. I've spoken with many people who have had to be in violent situations, who have had to enact violence against somebody, and not one of them has been able to even speak of it, let alone consider it for very long. The reverberations of the violence in their energy field is palpable. So again, I won't ever suggest violence when fighting fascism, inverted totalitarianism, whatever we're calling this, because that's their language and that's why we are in this situation. So why don't we, instead of picking up a stick to fight a tank, why don't we just defund oppression? We are paying them to do this to us. And I will say it until I don't have to say it any longer. Our taxes don't represent our best interests, and so we should not have to pay them. The Revolutionary War was about this. They dumped the tea in the bay because they were paying taxes to a government that was not representing them, that was not helping them, that was not providing any services to them. They stopped with the tax boycott. Yes, there was violence. Absolutely. But the tax boycott also worked. And again, I will say there are examples all over the world of how violence has not solved anyone's problems. And if you've been in a violent situation, you know that to be true. I don't think anybody in Gaza would say that violence has solved anything. I don't think anyone in the Ukraine would say that violence has solved anything. If you want to solve the problem of dictatorships, of authoritarianism, of fascism, you defund the people doing it. You don't give them your money. You don't give them your taxes. You don't buy stuff at the organizations that fund them. You don't support them at all. Instead, you create a different system, a system where everyone is taken care of, a system where everyone can thrive. I think we have enough evidence now to see that violence is never a solution to anything. If you like my content, please follow, please like, please comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I'd love to hear what you think a good solution to this issue is, to the issue of totalitarianism, to the issue of oppression. What do you believe will solve this problem? Not kill the people doing it, but solve this problem. See you in the next one.